Welcome to Reddit Echoes, where real-life stories are told authentically full of emotion and sometimes make you laugh or get furious. In today's video, we'll explore 8 fascinating stories packed with drama and some unforgettable revenge moments from the Reddit community. From awkward workplace situations and family conflicts to clever and satisfying paybacks, each story carries deep life lessons you won't want to miss. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our exciting upcoming videos. Now let's get started. Story 1. The colleague obsessed with speakerphone and my unbelievable revenge. I work in a company with a cubicle farm-style office, tiny desks arranged neatly in square blocks like 4 rows with 4 desks each all packed tightly like sardines. And inside this maze, there's a colleague I'll call Steve. Steve has a very annoying habit. He never uses headphones when making or taking calls. Instead, he blasts the speakerphone loudly and speaks very clearly so everyone can hear everything. At first, people just smiled awkwardly, but over time it became really irritating. Steve even shouted into the mic, though it wasn't necessary since the mic was clear enough. People gave him feedback. Some gently reminded him, but Steve ignored them as if he didn't hear a thing. The incident begins. One Monday morning, Steve called a doctor's clinic. He reported a urinary problem loud and clear on speakerphone, causing a stir in the whole office. Then he booked an appointment for 9 a.m. the next day. Right after Steve called the boss saying he'd be late the next day again, on loudspeaker and very loudly. Everyone in the office had to listen to Steve's private urinary issues. You'd think it ended there. Not at all. My revenge plan. That afternoon, I thought I have to do something to make him stop bothering the whole office. I wrote a fake script for my wife. She would call Steve's extension the next morning while he was at the clinic and leave a message. I told her to block her number so Steve wouldn't recognize the call. The message went something like this. Hello, this is Jane from Dr. So-and-so's clinic. We'd like to invite you to come in today for a semen sample. You had booked a urine sample appointment, but there was a mix-up, and a semen sample is required instead. The office chaos. The next morning, Steve returned to the office after his appointment. He started listening to his voicemails. The first message was work-related. No one paid attention. But the second message my wife's played loudly on speakerphone as usual. You are requested to provide a semen sample, not a urine sample. The whole office erupted in laughter. Steve was mortified. Steve quickly muted the speaker, his face turning tomato red, but it was too late. Everyone knew. He looked around with a mix of embarrassment and confusion. No one in the office dared to admit being behind the prank, but all eyes were on me. From that day on, Steve never dared to use speakerphone again. He started using headphones and spoke quietly. The end of a small story. I'm sure if my wife had said Steve had chlamydia or some sexually transmitted disease, people would have laughed even harder. But the message about semen sample instead of urine sample was just perfect. The takeaway. If you work in an office and a colleague annoys you, think of a subtle, harmless revenge that's enough to make them change. And never underestimate the power of speakerphone in the office. Story 2. When a customer paid with a whole box of coins, the slow counting that drove everyone crazy. I used to work as a toll booth operator, and I have a story that still makes me laugh uncontrollably whenever I think about it. The special customer. One day, a man came to the booth to pay about $5. Normally, nothing strange, but instead of pulling out bills or big coins, he handed me a box full of pennies and nickels. Honestly, at that moment, I thought, oh no, a long coin count is coming. The customer's attitude. He didn't just hand over the money. He smirked like saying, go ahead, count it, and see how long it takes. I guessed he was trying to mess with me or make things difficult. The long coin-counting session begins. Instead of rushing, I decided to patiently respond. I slowly counted each coin one by one, making him wait, and deliberately dropped a few coins on the floor to bend down, pick them up, and recount. The customer's reaction. He frowned, clearly annoyed, and even sighed in frustration sometimes. But I didn't care. I enjoyed every second of counting and making him pay the price. The final gift. When I finished counting, I found 20 cents extra. I handed the change back to him, along with a gentle but extremely sarcastic comment. "Here's your change. Please accept it. Are you satisfied with the wait?" The unforgettable remark. I think that comment haunted him for a long time. Like no matter how much he tried to cause trouble in the end, he had to accept the revenge through patience and a sarcastic remark. The lesson learned. Sometimes revenge doesn't require yelling or making a scene, but simply calmness, patience, and subtlety. Patience is a very powerful weapon, and a well-timed comment can make someone rethink their actions. Conclusion. If you've ever dealt with difficult customers or annoying co-workers, try thinking of a subtle way to get back without losing your image or disturbing the shared space. Story 3. My ex left me for someone else, but my revenge made him never forget. I had a relationship that lasted nearly 5 years. At first, I thought it was a beautiful love story like in the movies, but in the end, everything shattered in a way I never imagined. The harsh truth, I suspected he was cheating for a while, but had no solid proof. Then one day I came home to find all his things gone, only a small note left with an apology. "I'm not leaving because I don't love you anymore, but because we're no longer compatible. You deserve happiness, and I'm sorry I couldn't give you that." I cried a lot. But what hurt more was that 2 days later I saw he had a new girlfriend on Facebook, and they posted happy, affectionate pictures together. Pain turned into anger. I wanted to call him to ask questions, but told myself to stay silent. Time passed. He called me back, crying, apologizing, saying leaving me was the biggest mistake of his life. But I no longer wanted to listen. I'd heard those apologies too many times already. The plan begins. I agreed to meet him one more time. He came to my place near 9 p.m. drunk, smelling strongly of alcohol, driving his new girlfriend's brand new car. Despite feeling disgusted, I tried to act normal. He tried several times to get close to me, but I firmly refused. The perfect revenge. When he passed out in bed, I started my plan. I shook him awake, lightly slapped his face, then tickled his feet, knowing he was very ticklish. No effect. Then I used dark red lipstick, kissed a piece of paper, and wrote, "Nice car. Hope you don't mind us breaking in the back seat for you. P.S. Thanks." I took a photo of us lying next to each other and sent it along with the message to his new girlfriend saying, "Check the glove compartment." The next morning, he woke up panicked, not knowing what had happened. He begged me to keep it a secret, not to tell his girlfriend. I promised the secret is safe with a uniquely wicked smile. The message sent. As soon as he stepped out of the house, I sent that message to his new girlfriend. Soon after, she called me furiously, and he kept calling too, but I ignored them all. I let them drown in the chaos they created themselves. The ending. After a while, his new girlfriend left him. He tried to come back, but this time I wouldn't forgive. I said plainly, "Don't ever show up in front of me again." In the end, they vanished from my life. The lesson: never let yourself be the second choice. Sometimes silence is the strongest revenge, and some acts of revenge leave others with unforgettable memories. Story 4. The selfish passenger, who took up all the space and finally forgot her bag on the plane. I fly often, and I really value my personal space, especially on a long flight ahead. The flight and the beginning of discomfort. That time I had a window seat, my favorite spot, because I could lean my head to sleep and watch the clouds. But when a girl boarded late, everything started to get uncomfortable. She brought a bunch of bulky luggage, a handbag, a winter coat, and a thick down blanket. Instead of neatly stowing her bags under the seat, she threw everything onto my seat area. To make matters worse, she put her handbag on my lap. Disrespectful behavior. I tried to be patient, gently pushing the blanket and bag back toward her. The flight attendant reminded her to place her luggage properly, but she ignored it completely. She didn't even open her eyes or respond when the attendant called her name. The peak of frustration. As the plane neared landing, she woke up, phone in hand, and again threw the blanket over me. I decided I wouldn't tolerate it anymore. I gently pulled the blanket away and firmly held onto my space. She reacted angrily, snatching the blanket back as if I was the one at fault. The epic forgotten item. When the plane landed, she hurriedly stood up and rushed out of the plane, clearly annoyed. Interestingly, she forgot her handbag on the seat. I saw her pass by the fast food area and the pickup zone, then disappear from the airport without coming back for her bag. My thoughts? I'm usually helpful, but this time I chose not to remind her. Who knows how much trouble she'd be in without her ID and phone. I hope she was on an international flight and forgetting her bag might force her to return. The lesson. Sometimes disrespect gets its own price not through words, but through the carelessness of the person themselves. Don't underestimate others' space and patience, and sometimes silence is the most effective revenge. Story 5. When I marked my territory using my cat's litter box. Sometimes you get so mad that you want to do something really wicked without saying a word. This is my story of a deeply sneaky revenge with a little bit of horror for my cats. The backdrop of a broken relationship. I once had an unhappy relationship. My boyfriend did small things that irritated me, especially every time I needed to use the bathroom. He had this incredibly annoying habit. Whenever I needed the bathroom, he would go in first, leisurely play on his phone or pick at his face hair, making me wait outside for hours. The peak of frustration. One day I got so mad that I thought if I can't go, then I'll leave my mark there. So I decided to go to the bathroom in my cat's litter box. Not just that, this time I also peed a little in there. The cat's culture shock. Did you know cats are very sensitive about their personal space? After my action, my cats never dared to use that litter box again. They looked at it with confused eyes and avoided it as much as possible. My boyfriend's reaction. Later, my boyfriend went into the bathroom and noticed something unusual. Curious, he started investigating. When he saw that scene, he couldn't believe it and exclaimed, "Wow. Now I know why the cats kept crying but wouldn't go in." My thoughts? I don't regret it. Actually, this was a pretty clean revenge that didn't harm anyone except a few surprised cats. I think this was the clearest message for him. Don't mess with me anymore, or next time I'll leave a heavier mark. The lesson. Sometimes revenge doesn't have to be grand or dangerous. A few territory-marking actions can make the other person rethink. And don't let your cats become the innocent victims. Conclusion. If you've ever had bathroom revenge experiences like this, share them with me. Maybe it'll help someone feel understood and less frustrated. Story 6. My mom kicked me out right when I turned 18. And here's how I built my life. Can you imagine the feeling of being pushed out of your own home by your mother on the very day you become an adult? I experienced that, and the journey that followed taught me more lessons than I ever expected. The fateful day. The moment I turned 18, my mom told me it was time to take care of myself, that life outside wasn't as easy as inside the house. She didn't say it gently, but with a firm, decisive tone. You have to learn to take responsibility for your own life. I can't help you forever. That day, I held $400 in my hand and stepped out the door filled with fear and uncertainty. Life on the run. From then on, I had no home to return to. I slept at friends' places, worked at a fast food joint, rented a tiny, cheap room. Life was truly hard. Some days I was so hungry all I could do was sit silently and hope things would get better. But I didn't give up. The decision to go to college. Despite struggling to survive, I kept good grades. I was determined to apply to college and took out a loan to study. But my mom did not approve. She called me repeatedly once, even emailed me at 3 a.m. saying college was useless, that only rich people could survive there, and I wouldn't fit in. Keeping my distance, I gradually stopped sharing my life with her, avoiding arguments and hurtful criticisms. I quietly worked hard to prove that I could make it. Simple love. At college, I met my life partner, a very ordinary person, not wealthy, living a simple life. We fell in love and got married. What I didn't tell my mom was that this person was actually wealthy but never flaunted it. Proud success. Now I hold a PhD and have a stable job in public health. I built my life on my own strength without relying on anyone. Mom left with the wrong impression. My mom passed away a few years ago, still thinking I was a failure, a person brainwashed by the illusions of college. She never understood the effort and success I achieved. The message: if you are abandoned or looked down upon, never lose faith. You can rise up, build your life, and shine your own way. Conclusion. I share this story to remind myself and those struggling, never give up. Use your pain as motivation to move forward. And remember, the greatest success is proving your worth to those who doubted you. Story 7. A subtle revenge on the friends who carelessly scratched my car in the parking lot. I once had a very clever revenge experience with a group of friends who accidentally scratched my car. This story stays with me and has taught me that calmness and smart reactions can often be more effective than arguing or making a scene. The setting. I parked my car in a student parking lot about to go somewhere when I received an important phone call. Suddenly, a girl approached my car and opened her door right next to mine. Her door hit my car multiple times, which annoyed me. I looked at her, but she didn't care, and even giggled with a friend standing on the other side of the car. My reaction: I was on the phone, so I said nothing, just shook my head in frustration. She and her friend left before I could react. The silent revenge. After finishing my call, I moved my car to a spot right next to her car. Then I began my revenge by repeatedly closing my door into her car door. I did enough to create a few small scratches, but nothing serious enough to cause major damage. The satisfying feeling. Although my car was old, I felt very happy to have responded to that carelessness and disrespect. It made me feel that my rights were protected without the hassle of noise or arguments. The lesson learned. Sometimes silence and small actions can speak louder than words. Protecting your property doesn't have to be loud or violent. A little subtlety in revenge can leave a lasting impression. Conclusion. If you've ever faced similar situations, don't hesitate to take revenge in a smart and planned way. My story hopes to inspire you to stand up for yourself in a civilized and effective manner. Story 8. When my mother-in-law thought she was the best cook, I struck back by bringing my own home-cooked food. Being a daughter-in-law in a family with a strong culinary tradition is not easy, especially when your mother-in-law believes she's the world's best cook, and everyone must beg to eat her dishes. The battle of spices and tastes. I'm not used to eating overly spicy and pungent food like many traditional Indian dishes. Although polite, I often declined or only ate a little of what my mother-in-law cooked. This always upset her, and she frequently scolded me with comments like, "Why don't you like my cooking? Everyone else loves it. Don't you appreciate my effort?" My husband often had to step in to mediate these awkward situations. Feeling pressured and forced, I felt very pressured every time I went to my mother-in-law's house. Eating was no longer a pleasure but became a mental battle. I started to feel disrespected and voiceless at the family table. The strike-back plan. One day I decided to change my approach. I began cooking dishes I knew my mother-in-law could eat, milder and more balanced to suit both our tastes. Then I brought those dishes to her house cheerfully, saying, "I'm really excited to cook for you. I hope you like what I made." My mother-in-law's reaction. At first she seemed displeased, but gradually seeing my sincerity and effort, she started to pressure me less. She also stopped asking why I didn't like her food anymore. The satisfying feeling I felt happy to have regained control at the dinner table without causing direct conflict. I maintained respect for my mother-in-law, and she learned to accept my preferences more. Conclusion. If you're in a similar situation, remember that sometimes, instead of direct confrontation, try a gentle and smart approach. Use creativity and patience to create change. And most importantly, keep respect in all relationships, no matter how difficult. Thank you for joining us on Reddit Echoes in today's video. Each story is a slice of life, from humorous and awkward moments to touching tales filled with humanity. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. Let Reddit Echoes be the place where you find empathy and valuable life lessons. Until next time, take care of your health, love yourself, and cherish those around you. Reddit Echoes. Every story is an echo from the heart.